All right, here we go. We have legendary comedian Hope Flood in the building.
Thank you, Vlad, for having me.
Yo, thank you for coming through.
Absolutely.
We got one of the OGs in this comedy game.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. I really am.
Oh, thank you for coming. Big fan of your work.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been watching and listening to a lot of your stand-up.
Okay.
Leading up to the interview. Really, really dope for anyone who hasn't seen it. Go pull it up on YouTube and then go watch a show.
That's right. Thank you.
Follow it up with that.
Thank you.
Well, it's your first time here. So you grew up in Michigan?
From the harbor, Benton Harbor, Michigan.
Benton Harbor, Michigan. Okay, never heard of Benton Harbor.
It's a small town. It's about an hour and 15 minutes from Chicago.
Okay.
It's near South Bend and Grand Rapids or whatever. So it's a small town. My great-grandparents migrated there from Andalusia, Alabama.
Okay. the Southern migration.
Yes, of course.
Got it. And then you moved to Inglewood?
Well, I lived in Benton Harbor, and then we moved to Los Angeles. Well, we didn't move there. My mother came and kidnapped my brother and I. I was living there with my grandmother, and we were being abused, my brother and I, and my mother had to come and get us. She was a young mom, left us there. You know how people do with their grandparent, left us there, and we had to go. And so my mother came one day and got us out of school, and we came to California, been here ever since.
Okay, how old was your mother when she had you and your brother?
Yeah, I have a brother. My brother
Okay.
name is Pierre.
Older or younger?
Older, 3 years older.
Okay, so how old was your mother when she had your brother?
She was 16.
So she got pregnant at 15.
Yeah. No, 16 going on 17.
Okay, so
Yeah,
what is that, junior high school, sophomore in high school?
yeah, something like that.
High school mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so she had your brother, then she had you 3 years later?
3 years later.
Okay.
Yeah, 19 going on 20.
Same father?
Different dads.
Okay. So here you are at 19 with two kids,
Yeah.
with two fathers, and were the fathers involved at all?
No, my brother's father, that was her boyfriend since she was like in the 6th grade or something like that. You know how in those small towns. And so she didn't even know she was pregnant. She didn't remember even doing it with him, she says. That's the
Okay.
story she tells. But my dad, you know what happens? It's like, come over. And she went over there and something happened. The next thing she knows, she's pregnant or whatever. And here comes my brother. And then she left and came to California. Then she came back, met my father, who was 9 years older than my mom. Yeah. And
28, and she was 19?
yeah, and they were fine until she got pregnant. From what I understand of my dad, I never knew him. He came around when I was like 11 years old. I met him twice, and then I never seen him again. I looked for him my whole life and never found him until he died. And then we found him, and the coroner called and said, "We found your father." And I said, they asked me, could I come and identify the body? He had been in the morgue 4 months. I said, I don't know what he looks like. Do you have any other siblings? I had a younger brother. I was living in Dallas doing on the radio. And I said, yeah, I have a brother. Gave him his name, and they called me 2 weeks later and said, I found your brother. He lives 12 miles from you in Dallas. And we've been rolling ever since, my brother and I. My
Interesting.
other brother.
Why do you think your father never came around?
The story is there was like 13 of them. And his dad, there with my grandmother, there was 5 kids that she had with my dad and his brother. It was 5 of them, and then he died. And then she just kept having kids by one man, and they had to raise all those kids. And I think he just never wanted to have kids. And now that I'm finding my brother, I have a sister. I have another sister I just found 2 weeks ago. And I told my brother, I was in Dallas 2 weeks ago, I said, I found our sister, and she doesn't know dad either. I said, so I don't feel bad now. He didn't give a shit about any of us. So there's closure there.
Yeah. Too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, really, he missed out.
He really did, and that's what I think about all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, why wouldn't you want to know us? We were amazing.
Yeah.
We're amazing people.
I know, right? Missed the whole first steps and, that pure love when the kids were little,
Yeah,
and
all that.
he missed out on all that.
All that,
Eh.
absolutely, all that. That's Mary.
Okay. Oh, just went flying.
Shit flying.
All right. So your mom.
Okay, so my
kidnapped you.
mom. Okay, so my mother. She came back, got pregnant with me, had me. The day I was born, my father came and said, he called her Flood. He said, Flood. He married another woman. He said it's for the best, and he moved to California. And my mother had to leave. So my mother, I only got to be with my mother for about 6 months. And then my mother cut a lady in the bar and had to leave town. And so my great grandfather put her on the Greyhound bus, sent her to California, and that's where she was. And my grandmother pretty much raised us, my brother and I. I had 3 other uncles in the home with us. My grandmother was a prescription drug addict, though, so she would check out sometimes. She'd stay in the hospital a lot of time. And so our uncles were there to raise us. One of my uncles was a heroin addict. Another one was on drugs real bad. And the other one, he used to molest me, and they used to beat on my brother and I. And it's a wonder my brother should be a serial killer, and I should be at least a prostitute or something like that. But here we are, and we made it through. And so my mother came in the middle of the day one time. My great grandmother called her and said, "You need to come and get your kids."
You were being molested by your own uncle.
Yeah, it happens.
How do you go to, like, as a man, how do you go to sleep at night?
Well, you know what you find out, Vlad, people who hurt people are hurt. And so my uncle it was happening to him. And so I know that doesn't make it right, but at the end of the day, generational curses stop here. I don't do it. My son doesn't do it or anything like that. So I have broken a lot of generational curses in my family. And so here we are, you know. It's hard.
That's too bad.
It is.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still here.
Have you had this conversation with him?
Never.
Why is that?
You know, I blocked it from my memory till I was about 17. And then I woke up one day, I said, this happened to me. Mm-hmm. And I asked my brother, I said, did that happen? He said, yes. I told my mother at the time.
Your brother knew about it?
He knew, but he was being beaten, you know, whatever. So it was the less of 2 evils, and he was helpless. He was only 3 years older than me. It's not much he could do. And so I finally told my mother, and she was going to have him killed and all this other stuff. And it was like, you know, and so people say, you need to forgive him. And I have tried to. I have wanted to. And I think I could forgive him, but I don't know if I could ever forget.
Well, there's good old-fashioned revenge. I'm just saying.
Well, he ain't shit. He ain't never going to be shit. So I think that's a good revenge for me.
I don't want to have some face-to-face.
Maybe so.
I think I would have a face-to-face
and
talk.
say what? Because he denies it.
Have a weapon on me during that time.
Yeah,
you know, some sort. Not a gun or a knife, but maybe like some pepper spray or, you know, maybe a stick or something like that.
It might help. People like, write a letter or do this. I've been in counseling. I've been going to counseling. You have to forgive them to move on. I'm like, I'm not forgiving all these people. I'm not forgiving all of them. You take away a person's innocence as a child, and then their whole life is all screwed up because you don't know what love really is anymore. You don't know who loves you, who don't, and you can't trust anybody. It's so hard for me to trust people.
I mean, because you're a predator. You're a child predator.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know, that's what I'm saying. So, you know, good old-fashioned revenge serves a good purpose. You know, there's a reason why people have been doing it this whole time. And we'll continue to do it.
Yeah.
You never thought of pressing charges or anything else?
I don't have any real proof. It's just my word against his.
Look at Bill Cosby, though, you know?
Yeah, that's true. They have proof, though, and people knew about it. And I think that's the reason, one of the reasons I'm a stand-up comedian. It's our real therapy.
Yeah.
It's our thing that we do if you deal with a lot of comedians, you do a lot of interviews with comedians, all of us are screwed up and fucked up somewhere in the head and everything, and this is our healing, you know, and this is how we heal. And so I just know that I had to protect my son, and nobody has ever touched him or molested him or anything like that. And that has been my job as a mother.
That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.